Hello, this is Clint Locklear with the Farmer's Grove down in where the chickens and ducks are eventually going to be. You can see all the buckwheat. You'll see a lot of corn. And I'm going to explain how I did this using kind of the Permaculture natural way of farming, but with a redneck implement. If you go back a couple of videos, you'll see where I'm knocking down blackberries with 2 telephone poles. I let all of this grow up in clover and vetch. And then when it started browning up, I drove over it with the Jeep, with pulling the 2 telephone poles, knocked it to the ground. And this is what the ground looked like. Now the shadows are gonna be all crazy on this video, and I apologize for that. This is what it did on the covering. This is me running over the vetch and clover once it starts going out. Now, that's a tillage radish, seeds I planted last year that just hung on because it couldn't germinate, so it's waited till this year, so that's kind of cool for me. But this is the mulch. I mean, that's what you do in your garden when you're trying to mulch something, by running over that cover crop, laying it on the ground. That's what I've got. Before I did that, guys, I came in here and just threw in buckwheat, some old corn seed, which I don't know how well they germinate, but they're doing pretty good. Some non-GMO soybeans that I learned, that's another video where I learned that to get regular soybeans that are GMO, or most co-ops make you have a Monsanto's card, which I do not. So I had to really search for soybeans that weren't. And then millet and the buckwheat. So I just went around before I knocked it down, threw the seeds everywhere, ran over it with pulling the 2 telephone poles, knocked that to the ground, got that mulch bed on the ground. The seeds were already on the ground because they fall down through the other vetch and other clover. And this is what's came back. There was no drilling, no plowing, no using any type of disc. That's all I did. The same way that Permaculture would chop down he would throw his seeds out and chop down his hay straw. That's what I just did, but with a more of a machine type manner. You can see all the buckwheat. The millet, which is that right there. Millet's coming on strong. I can see several soybeans, but with the buckwheat, they're almost impossible to show in film. And you can see the corn that's coming up. It's coming up all over the place. And that's just by throwing this stuff out. But look at the biomass for the amount of energy I put into this. All this soil building for basically throwing out some seeds, knocking it over, the old biomass over, with 2 telephone poles chained to the back of my Jeep, and now we're rocking and rolling with a totally different set of biomass that's going to build the soil. Now this over here was an experiment, and with the buckwheat, the millet and stuff didn't do that well. I don't see any corn coming up. Of course, the comfrey's there ahead of time. I let this completely go in weeds, and I just threw those seeds in here. I didn't do anything more, just to see what would happen. But I can tell from doing this that I can go into high weed situations, keep doing the buckwheat, start drowning out some of the other weeds, which is already happening here. I can get another crop of this before fall, and then before that starts dying, I can put in some tillage radishes and other stuff like that. So that's how I'm building soil on a bigger scale than just a backyard garden, because it's impossible to bring enough mulch. But I just wanted to show you this, and I wish that I had a good enough camera that you could see all of the little bees and wasps and bugs that are just loving all of this buckwheat. I mean, it's just, you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it on camera, but it's real easy to hear now. So I just thought I'd share that with you.